Hi, I'm Dan Cox, and I'm here with Nick Osipczak. Nick, how you doing, buddy?
I'm excellent. How you doing, Dan?
I'm doing well. And your story is pretty unique. And I kind of want to get a little bit of a run from the beginning when you first started martial arts up into getting into the tough contest with the Ultimate Fighter.
Okay, well, I started martial arts aged 18 when I went to university, and I decided it was about time I took up a sport. I chose Kung Fu, and I did that for 2 years, and I had some great success with it. After those 2 years, I won the National Open Championship, at which point I had already started seeing the Ultimate Fighting Championships. I remember the VHS called Ultimate Knockouts 1 and 2 had come out, and I started thinking that what I was being taught in Kung Fu wasn't covering the whole spectrum of fighting, made aware of the whole ground aspect. And I started questioning whether all the stuff I was being shown would really work. So this was really piquing my interest, and eventually I decided I had to go down to an MMA gym, and I quickly found out that, my striking wasn't enough. I needed to learn all the other aspects. And gradually I started picking all that stuff up as well, and the itch to compete in MMA started growing, and eventually I started winning, doing well, and building my record. I won all my fights, and then got called up to the TUF auditions, which, opened a whole new chapter.
Now, what was that like? And I ask all the guys that have been in the Ultimate Fighter, what was it like for you? Because everybody has a different experience. I can only imagine watching, being in there with all those guys jammed in there for that long and the different personalities. Did you find it that it really benefited you? Was it the training or just the whole
But I
aspect?
think a lot of it comes down to where you are in your life when you go into the house. For me, it was absolutely perfect. I was 23 years old, single, and hungry for more knowledge in the martial arts. So, I'm surrounded with awesome training partners, awesome coaches. I live in a big house in Las Vegas with free food. So I just relished every moment and made the most of it. And I learned so much. What I learned in those 8 weeks probably would have taken me a couple of years outside of the house.
And that was kind of what I was curious about, because everyone does have a little bit of a different, pick up on what their experience is, whether it was just positive from the training or, really not much at all. But you came into the UFC and you did well, and then you kind of took a hiatus from fighting in general. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, well, what started happening after a while was it all became a bit of a job, and I started plateauing. And eventually I realised that one of the main things that interests me in martial arts is I love learning. And it's kind of felt that I plateaued a bit. I was just going through the motions. Having to cut weight was a bit of a chore, and just the whole process. I had lost the passion for it, the love for it. I wasn't doing it because I loved it anymore. And so in that sport in particular, if your heart's not in it, you shouldn't be competing. So I took a break, and gradually the passion started coming back. I was learning a whole new area to the martial arts, and now I feel hungry again and ready to show off the new skills I've been working on.
So actually, you came back and you started the New Wave Academy, and I'm curious what led to that, to you starting it, and how is it doing? Is it? I mean, I've heard great things about it.
Yeah, it's doing great. It's continuing to grow. Um, I realised at quite a young age that you can't fight forever. And I see a lot of the fighters, they finish after their career, 5, 10, 20 years, whatever it is. They kind of beat up, and a lot of them are broke and they have nothing else to go to, and they feel a bit lost. So I was always very business-minded, and I realised I needed to set something up for the long term. And I learned a lot from teaching martial arts, because you see how different people learn in different ways, and you've got to keep all the different techniques fresh in your mind. You can't just be teaching them the ones which work for you. You need to teach the whole spectrum, because different body types, different personalities, etc., etc. So that was a really great way to help me develop my knowledge of the martial arts. And then eventually 2 years ago, I decided to pass it on to two of my top students, so I could 100% fully focus on my own personal development. I did some traveling and just 100% focusing on the goal now of becoming the best fighter I can be.
Now, with the training aspect, Nick, has it really changed a lot? Has it come really a long ways as far as the techniques, the advancements in training? Because, you know, from an old guy's perspective and seeing how it's done, it's amazing for me to watch what you guys are doing.
My training's 100% different to how it used to be. It's much more balanced. So most MMA guys, their training is, let's say, 90% hard training, 10% soft, and that's being generous to them. Now my training is 50% hard, 50% soft. So it's a completely different approach. And that's also spread over to all the other aspects of my training, from my diet to my sleeping. And a lot of the methods I'm using are old traditional methods taken from the Asian martial arts. And a lot of people in MMA today aren't even aware that those methods are out there and exist.
You know, I hear that rarely, but I do hear that, Nick. And for me, when I look at such a young man like yourself, and you've achieved so much already in your life, it's got to feel good to give back to these young guys coming up. They look up to you. I mean, is that something that you really do? You can really feel from teaching these guys from the academy, because it's got to feel great.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my goals is to pass on the knowledge that's been passed on to me. You know, it's one of the most rewarding things you can do is just to give back. But first, I have to really make sure that I have digested and integrated the knowledge that I'm seeking before I can then pass it on to others.
Now as you said, you've kind of moved on a little bit, and you're getting ready to come out with something a little bit different. Can you speak to that for me? Because I'm excited about this.
Well, I can't go into too much detail because a major part of this is the element of surprise. But I would say that everything will be slightly different to the trained eye, from the stance to the pace to the distance to the timing. So yeah, I'm excited to show it off, but I can't give too many details away.
Well, let me ask you, without trying to get any info out there, so we got a big surprise for everybody. What maybe led you to this? What gave you the inspiration to go where you're gonna go? Was there one thing you could speak to, or is it just life experience?
Life experience played a big role, but I've always been someone who studies a lot. I read a lot of books, so having access to this information got the old brain cogs ticking. But I'd say a major contributing factor was how I took a back step from the sport. So I was more able to see it for what it actually is, the pros, the cons, things people were doing well, things people were doing badly, where the grey areas were, where the big scope for improvement lay. Because when you're caught up in the middle and you're just thinking constantly about your next fight, your next fight, your next fight, you are just working on a small portion of the whole picture. You know, you're thinking about the weight, you're concentrating mostly on sparring. So I that had that whole step back where, first of all, I healed my body, I balanced it out, I improved my flexibility, and then slowly, just, well, as I say, just seeing it for what it was.
Yeah, you know, because as you said, you started at a young age or at an older age, considering mixed martial arts at 18 and then starting. And what was when you got on TUF? How old were you in TUF?
23.
23 years old. So I mean, you know, you're looking at someone that had very limited experience compared to a lot of other guys that got into the house. You've progressed. You took a hiatus. It seems like you have grown a lot faster than a lot of other guys, maybe. And not to disparage anyone or, you know, put a knock against them, but again, it seems like you found something that maybe some other guys haven't. And you have a real clear direction, and you've got a shine in your eyes, Nick, like you know something nobody else does. And man, you're killing me because I really want to know. Um, what can I get from you as far as when can we expect to see this or hear about it?
Well, 27th of June, I'm making my return to competition after a long break. That's on a new show called Macro Championships. It's going to be a great show. I'm headlining it. And that will be the night where I will reveal the new style.
Man, I'm fixated on that. I can promise you that I'm going to be tuning in, and I'm sure there are a lot of people that are going to be watching. Is there Maximo? And this is something that was created by? Did you have a hand in this, or how did this come about?
Well, there's 5 guys that have set it up, and one of them is my former manager, who I've known for many years, and I've always known that he has wanted bigger things and better things for the sport, especially in the UK. So they had this vision, they've had it for a while, where they want to put on this really professional show, well run, treat the fighters well, professional, attract bigger commercial sponsors to the sport. And I just really like their vision. So it was a perfect fit, when I was looking to return to fighting and when they're putting on their first show, it was just an obvious match, and everything's falling into place nicely.
That's exciting. And you can look at, in my mind, I look at, you've got the UFC dominating MMA. And then we've got this big fight coming up this weekend with Pacquiao Mayweather. And, the combat in general is growing at such a rate. It's really taken over as far as sports. I know in the U.S. it's dominating. You've got to be excited to be coming into something that's new and fresh, and to give the fans something to really, a different look. And that's got to be something that's really pushing you too.
Yeah, I think it's great. As you say, the sport's continuing to grow year on year. And what I'm particularly pleased about is how I could have been fighting for the last 5 years, but I would be a lot more banged up, both in terms of my joints and my brain from all the extra damage. But I've done very, very little sparring in the last 5 years, no fighting. So I'm fresh, healthier than ever, and I'm ready to go in now when the sport's even bigger and the paydays are going to be even bigger.
And that's you got me to that point too, because again, we speak about Mayweather, Pacquiao. I mean, we're talking about guys that are going to be making 9-figure paydays, 180 mil, 100 plus mil for 35, 40 minutes of work. And when you see guys competing in the UFC and they're putting in 3, 4, Donald Cerrone, 5 fights in 12 months, and they're not coming close to that kind of money, it really, it's kind of sad for me, the fan, to see that, because I think you guys deserve as much as anyone else out there. Obviously, Mayweather Pacquiao is a fight everyone's looking for, but in the Maximo, are we going to see fighters that we've seen compete before? Is it going to be new up-and-comers? Are we going to have some veterans of the sport in there?
Sorry, ask that question again.
With the new Maximo that you're coming out and you're fighting, you're headlining, are we going to see any veterans of the sport, guys that have been around in MMA?
On the new show?
Yeah.
I don't exactly know what their plans are. All I know is the kind of fighters they want are intelligent fighters that present themselves well, present the sport well, have a good skill set, a good look, know how to talk to the media, and a professional. So they're trying to move in that direction and build the sport.
And that's refreshing, actually. And I've got one more thing for you, Nick. What was it, and what is your goal actually? Because we know now you took the break. You got spiritually, I assume, spiritually, mentally, physically refreshed. You healed. You were inspired, and here you are making this big comeback. And I mean, for me, it's super exciting because I want to know more, and I know I can't pull it out of you, so I'm not going to try. But what do you see for the future? with you, Nick, and with Maximo as an organization and a promotion going forward?
Well, my goal is very clear. I'm heading to win the UFC title. I believe I will win that by 2018, and I wouldn't be entering this sport as a competitor if that wasn't my goal. I'd be wasting my time if I was just trying to be top 10 or top 20 in the world. You know, I'm 100% committing to being the best I can be. I want to show off the efficiency of Tai Chi as a martial art, and I want to help spread it.
That's awesome. And I got to ask you, what weight are you, if you're coming in, what are you looking at? What weight to take that title?
Welterweight initially.
Wow. Hey, that's a healthy weight for you. I mean, now, do you walk around, let's say, are you going to be cutting more than 15, 20 pounds, do you think? Or is that something you don't want to touch?
I'm not going to talk too much about what I walk around at, but all I would say is the weight cut won't be a problem for me. And, you know, all my preparation is based on being healthy. So I'm not a fan of the big weight cut.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was really curious about that. I'm always asking the guys about those big weight cuts. Now, you got to see Conor McGregor, what's going on with that, how the promotion is really kind of holding on to Conor and kind of pushing him through here. And he fought Dennis Siver, and Dennis Siver for the title shot. Dennis Siver, and it's no disrespect to Dennis, a great fighter. He just doesn't seem like the gatekeeper to the title for me. So do you, I guess my question would be, do you see the media role as a huge part of the game, and not just the talent? You've got to have the personality, and as you said, you've got to be intelligent and speak well with the press to make it to that level.
It definitely helps. I mean, if you're winning all your fights in an exciting way, you're going to find your way to the top eventually. But at the end of the day, this is a business. The UFC, they're there to make money. And so if you can work with them by helping them sell the fight, then they're going to have your back and they're going to help fast track you. But saying that, I think Conor McGregor's a great fighter. And I love how he emphasizes the importance of the study of movement, which is what a lot of my stuff is based on as well.
And that's a fact right there. Seeing how you see how the UFC is changing, you're looking at, was it 2018, 2017 that you're ready for it?
I'm ready for it now. I expect to sign with them after 3 fights, and I expect to win the belt at the latest 2018.
That's exciting, man, Nick. I love when someone speaks their mind and puts a timeline on it, and they're as matter of fact as you are. Do you have any shout outs that you'd like to give out to sponsors and friends, or you want to leave that one too?
Yeah, I want to just shout out my coaches. They all know who they are. This is a team effort at the end of the day. We're all contributing to the cause. And special shout out to my family for supporting me.
That's beautiful. And I always ask this one, Nick, and for me, it's important. What was your favorite fight that you were involved in of all time, and the best one that you would just be your favorite? If I asked you, boom, you'd know it right off the bat.
Tate is my fight against. I was an underdog for that fight. I'm in front of 70,000 people in England, and I just broke him down, and that was an incredible moment for me. Yeah, I love that fight.
What is it like fighting in front of that many people? I mean, people talk about the UFC jitters and all this stuff, but I mean, when you're coming out in front of a crowd like that, and it's, you know, I mean, it's got to be either exhilarating and pumps you up, or intimidating and beats you up.
Yeah, absolutely. It can have both those effects you mentioned. For me, it always helped me. It made me thrive with the pressure. They say pressure builds diamonds, and a lot of it at the time you block it out because you're so focused on the fight. You don't want to get distracted. So everyone deals with it differently, but it was an incredible experience, and energetically that stays with you. And I can remember, if I need to, I can think back to that night, and I can get my heart racing, and the hairs on my arm can stand up if I just go through it in my mind. So it's something that will always stay with me, but I see much bigger occasions still to come.
Yeah, I do too, Nick. You're extremely talented. You're a very, very smart fellow. You're very intelligent, and it comes through when I speak to you. Last thing, Pacquiao Mayweather, who do you got?
You know, tell you the truth, I don't follow boxing that much, so don't take my word on this, but I'll have to go with Mayweather because I just think he's the smarter of the two.
You know what? I'm going to agree with you on that, Nick, because I think Floyd's going to take it too. But it will be a hell of a fight. Listen, I'm looking forward to seeing you come out, Maximo. I want to see. I'm going to get the word out. Everybody is going to be interested in this, especially since I couldn't pull all of the info out of you I wanted. But man, thank you so much for taking the time and coming on with us.
Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I love what you guys at LUB-MMA are doing.
That means a lot right there, Nick. I really appreciate that. I hope to speak to you after, and we can talk about your experience and see how the future is going to go for you. What do you say to that?
Yes, I'll be there.
The beautiful. Thank you so much, Nick. It was awesome having you on, and I look forward to speaking to you again.
Thank you, Dan.